So this train goes everywhere you want to go. The blind train. The blind train.
Give me a one-way ticket to anywhere. And a glazed donut. To go.
The blind train. The blind train. All aboard.
Hey, welcome to the show. It is Saturday night. Have I ever done a Saturday night show before? I don't know. Welcome to the LeBrain Train. It's December 26th, Boxing Day, and the first day of lockdown. Well, lockdown 2.0, I guess, in Ontario. Welcome. Michael and Sage. That's Sage's logo right there that she made. Good evening, Harrison Kopp. And Buried on Mars, I got a question for you. So I think you like Techmoan as well, don't you? You watch Techmoan on YouTube? I know Rob Daniels watches Techmoan on YouTube. But I was watching Techmoan's latest video today, which was about a slide projector that also played audio with each slide. And he acquired a whole bunch of slides off eBay just to have something to demonstrate his machine on. And one of the slides, I had to laugh, featured a Halloween party. And the dude was, in one of the pictures, was dressed like David Lee Roth on the front cover of the Eat 'em and Smile album. I thought that was hilarious. Anyway, hey Mom. Tonight's show is about Christmas is past. Days of Christmas is past. But we may as well kind of, just catch up on Christmas is present. We had a wonderful Christmas yesterday with my mom, who bought me this mug. We kind of sat in two different rooms eating dinner, and it was lovely. It was lovely. But here we are in lockdown now, so no more of that. Next time I see my mom, it'll have to be in a driveway. Lots of cool stuff. This was a gift from, was it from Jen? I think it was from Jen. I lose so much track. Everything happens so fast. I've never owned the first Tea Party album before, and this is a 2-record set. There's 3 sides listed on the back, and I'm not sure what's on the 4th side, but usually there's a graphic on the 4th side. So I'm looking forward to that. This has sort of become an annual tradition, for me anyway. Either a Ripley's or the latest Guinness's book, or both. And it's funny, this is a tradition that goes back many, many years, when somebody back in the 90s gave me a Ripley's Believe It or Not book. Big yellow hardcover book. And I loved it. It was the only Ripley's book you could get for lots and lots of years, and now there's a wealth of them. You also always need a new calendar. So what's more 2020 than getting the Mandalorian calendar? Tons of new music here. The only one I've listened to so far is the most recent Loudness, Rise to Glory, live in Tokyo from 2018. And this is a 2-CD single DVD set. DVD doesn't like to hold in very well. Featuring what appears to be part of 3 shows. This is from a period in time when their drummer, I have to make sure I get his name right. Their drummer, oh goodness gracious. There he is. Masayoshi, no, that's the bassist. Masayuki Suzuki. That was easier than the build-up. He was sick. He'd had a stroke, and he was not able to play drums on this tour. But He does make an appearance on the final song on the DVD, which is the song Loudness. So this is the only one I've played full through so far. Glad to have the latest Loudness in my collection. I got a couple ZZ Tops for the guy who has all the ZZ Tops. What do you get him? You get him the CD remasters, which feature extra. Well, you can't really see, but trust me, there's extra live bonus tracks on each of these. Fandango comes with Heard It on the X, Jailhouse Rock, and Tush. I'm assuming those are different live versions from the main album. The liner notes may enlighten us some more. And Tres Hombres comes with Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago, and LaGrange, all live. These will eventually get reviewed along with the entire ZZ Top catalog on my site. Eventually. I'm not making any promises as to when. Jennifer bought me the complete Rat Atlantic Years box set, which features all 5 of their albums on Atlantic with minor bonus tracks. Hey, Tyler, how you doing, buddy? And I agree that we need a LaBrain calendar. Yeah, some minor bonus tracks. Detonator comes with 2 remixes, and Nobody Rides for Free from the Point Break soundtrack. Reach for the Sky comes with Way Cool Jr. from MTV Unplugged. That's cool. And the rest all appear to be single edits. But for a guy who only owned one of these 5 Rat albums on CD, perfect. Perfect! My sister purchased for me the new Ace Frehley, Origins Volume 2. Can't say I'm particularly psyched about a new Ace Frehley, but I had to have it. I don't know, more covers. Come on, man, write some songs. And finally, the Queen Adam Lambert Live All Around the World CD Blu-ray combo set. Some of these tracks are only on the Blu-ray and are not on the CD. And I look forward to hearing the whole thing eventually during this wonderful holiday that I am on. And I'm enjoying very much. Just dropped my allergy pills. My sister must think I'm a lot smarter than I am. Because look at these books. I asked for one. Sorry, I missed Eric 3 calls today. I missed him 3 times. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I wasn't looking at my phone. I had a long afternoon nap. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you guys. I asked for this because she went to school around here. She went to school at the University of Waterloo, I believe. So I asked for this. She ended up getting me this and these. Like, she thinks I'm way smarter than I really am. I've owned A Brief History of Time before in softcover. And I didn't understand it then. I don't know how I'm going to understand it now. And check this baby out. From the movie The Black Hole. It's Maximilian. When I put this on my wish list, I really had no idea how big this thing was. It's huge. It's huge. As Aaron would say, that's what she said. What are these guys talking about? May is close enough. Yes, it is Mr. Books. He loves those sciencey books. Yeah, I love those sciencey books too. I just hope I can comprehend them, is all. I hope so. Like I said, I've owned A Brief History of Time before, an earlier softcover edition, and didn't make it very far. Didn't make it very far. So, on tonight's schedule, I thought it would be a lot of fun to talk about Days of Christmases Past. And, you know, I think Michael Crichton is as close as Kevin gets to science books. You're supposed to comprehend them? I'd like to. I'd like to comprehend them. Now, I have very, very vague memories of early Christmases. before my sister was born, but really vague and nothing really specific. I started my notes here with what I have to assume is the year 1977. And I'm going to put a picture on the screen here in a second. If you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Lego set number 371 from 1977. I'm assuming that's the year I got it. And the set blew my mind. I'd had Lego before. This might have been my first or second Lego set. But even by today's standards, that's a pretty nice plane. It's sleek. Look at the angled slopes. Suddenly I had a bunch of those in my collection. It had the sloped windshields, which were so rare. 2 little minifigures before they actually had Lego minifigures. A little patrol boat with 2 more transparent sloped pieces. I was thrilled to have this. Look at the propeller, too. Like, that's very... This is cutting edge for 1977 Lego. And what I remember most about that... Hey, Sarah, how you doing? Yeah, 77 was the Star Wars release year, but I'm not 100% sure when I started getting the major Star Wars gifts. And yeah, it's a sleek plane. Yeah, so that was obviously the best gift that I got that year, because what I remember the most about it was Boxing Day morning. And I woke up, God knows when. It was still dark out. And I was really excited to have that Lego set, and I wanted to get going, starting to play with my Lego set. So I took it apart, dumped the whole thing out on the kitchen table, started putting it back together. At which point I woke up my dad, who came downstairs to see what was going on. I said, I'm playing with my Lego, Dad. And I don't think I really had much comprehension of time. I knew it was early. It was pitch black outside. But I had a brand new Lego set, and that had to take precedence. I think I probably went back to bed after playing with it, but God knows what hour of the morning that was. What a great set. That was the backbone of my Lego collection for a while. Yep. I was young. I was 5. I had a brand new baby sister. Well, not brand new. A year-old baby sister. And I don't remember... We probably did get Star Wars figures in 77, but that's not what I remember the most. Chris Sarr can't remember yesterday, let alone 77. It's not what I remember the most. What I remember the most is that Lego set. And of course, the memorable dad coming down the stairs wondering what the noise was. I think it might have been the first time I ever woke my dad up in the middle of the night. The first of many times that I woke him up in the middle of the night. Kevin was 1 month old in 77. So, infant Kevin, I had way better toys than him in 77. Yeah, so you and my sister are about the... no, you're not about the same age. She's a year older than you. But Star Wars had begun, so I probably did get some action figures for Christmas that year. But I don't specifically remember which ones. What I assume, though, is that the following year, 78, I got Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. I'll get that one up on the screen for you. That toy came out in 78, so I'm assuming, again, that I got it the year of release. And what I remember the most about all of the Kenner toys, for that matter, not just the X-Wing, but also pretty much all their vehicles, if you can see that. Can you see that X-Wing there, folks? That's what ours probably looks more like now. But what I remember about these things is how shitty they were put together. Those laser guns here, they would not stay on. They popped off all the time. But I guess that's probably also a safety feature, so you're not going to poke your eye out. The laser will just come off rather than poke your eye out. But, I mean, they just would not stay on. Like, mid-flight. The wings broke very quickly. we had to jam in this part of the wing here. We had to jam a marker cap just to hold the wings open because they did not work anymore. They'd busted. I was always disappointed that little R2 didn't pop out. But the electronics were cool. There was a button that if you pushed it back here, your proton torpedo launcher would light up and you'd get a sound effect. So that was all pretty cool. The toys that made us, Star Wars, yep. This is exactly what your husband commented on last week. I'm gonna close that tab. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, so what I remember about this now, aside from it breaking very easily, was that the field had suddenly widened. Getting Star Wars figures in little Lego sets for Christmas is one thing, but that X-Wing, for me, for that age, that thing was huge, like physically huge. Had a big wingspan, had the electronics. It was probably one of the biggest toys I had at that time. And Tyler mentioned earlier the show, The Toys That Made Us. There's a really great documentary on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. And part of what made Star Wars so successful was the scaling down of the figures to the point where you can actually have them interact with vehicles like the X-Wing fighter. And that's what appealed to us. There were already those big 12-inch figures, like I had a Captain America and a Superman and a Batman, and those were great. They were exactly like these. The Migos, you know? They were exactly like these, but you couldn't make an X-Wing fighter big enough to hold a figure of this size. So when Star Wars scaled them down, they enabled kids to have things like X-Wing fighters and Millennium Falcons that could interact with the little figures, and it was brilliant. Only here to bust chaps, Kevs. Yes, it's a great documentary. So getting this X-Wing kind of broadened my horizons, I guess, and spoiled the shit out of me. Nothing... You can't go back. You can't go back with a kid at Christmas time. You can't give him an X-Wing one year and then the next year just give him a few figures. It doesn't work that way. And I'm assuming it was 1979 that we got the Millennium Falcon under the tree. Our tradition was kind of different. What my parents would do was they would have presents from Mom and Dad, and they would also have presents from Santa. Excuse me. And the Santa presents we were generally allowed to play with right away. They were not wrapped. They were just waiting under the tree. I'm trying to find a large picture here. They were not wrapped. They were just waiting under the tree. And we were allowed to play with them as soon as we woke up in the morning. We didn't have to wait for Mom and Dad. But there were also Mom and Dad gifts that came later on. They were usually more boring stuff like shirts and socks and that sort of thing. I guess this picture will have to do. Not the detail I was looking for. So one Christmas, I'm assuming 79, we found this under the tree. And true to Kenner standards, right out of the box, the ramp broke. And for the entire time that I enjoyed this toy, the landing ramp was held on by a couple pieces of masking tape. Later on, we tried hot glue that would hold it for a short time before it snapped again. Yeah, these Kenner toys, they were not built to last. But then again, they were pioneering too. They didn't really know how long kids were going to want to play with these things. I remember the canopy here, which opened up to the side. It kind of popped open sideways. Never snapped shut. There was always a piece of masking tape holding it shut. The radar dish worked fine. The guns worked fine. They were connected to a gunner's chair down in here that would actually rotate as you rotated the guns. The entire back panel came off here, revealing an inner an inner space that you could play with. There was a little lightsaber practice area for Luke. There was a little chess table for Chewie and 3PO. There was a whatchamacallit, a hidden smuggling compartment. That was a great toy. Hey, Lana, how you doing? Cheaply made, never stayed shut. Hockey tape fixes everything. We didn't have a lot of hockey tape that would have matched the color of the Millennium Falcon. Hope no kids are watching, lol. The only Star Wars vehicles I had were the brown land speeder. That was my very first. And one of those Endor speeder bikes. Yes, yeah, my sister had that one. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I liked those toys. Yeah, so the Falcon, I'm assuming again, 79, maybe 1980. The ramp broke immediately, but that was a special toy. It was part toy, part playset. It was not really built for dogfighting the way that you could do with the X-Wing. So here's what I remember about our playing with the Falcon. When we wanted to play the Falcon landed, or the interior of the Falcon, we would put it down, we would open it up, and we would have the figures interact. But when we wanted to play space battles, I had the die-cast Falcon, and we would use that for swooshing. My sister has all my old Star Wars toys now, so they're all safe with her. Hey, Catherine. And Sarka had 0 Star Wars toys. But that's what we would do. Guys, I love you guys. Love you all. That's what we would do when we were swooshing with the toys. Catherine had the Vader TIE Fighter. I had the X-Wing. They were great for dogfighting, but the Falcon was not. Every time you moved it around, you had to hold the lid on, and the figures inside would be careening everywhere. There would be no point pegging them to the little stands on the inside of the Falcon. So it was less of a ship and more of a playset, but certainly it was the centerpiece of all of our Star Wars fun for many, many years. I'm trying to think, but it had to be the biggest Star Wars toy that we ever had. I wanted the walker, but I never got the walker. Instead, I would make little backdrops, cut them out of cardboard with the shape of the walker. Merry Christmas, Lana. I'm doing great. And I hope that you get a chance to catch up and check all the cool stuff that I got. I had some of those as well. And there's community for you right there. Now, we were Star Wars crazy, obviously, especially when The Empire Strikes Back came out. I think The Empire Strikes Back for us was kind of like peak Star Wars for us. And there were a lot of Christmases, actually, there's very few, 2 or 3 Christmases, really. But there were memorable Christmases where we're talking about Tauntauns, and my uncle and aunt from Stratford would come over and spend Christmas Eve night, Christmas morning with us, and they would sleep in the pull-out couch in the basement. And we would run down there and show them our Star Wars toys, and my uncle would try to understand what a Tauntaun was. And I had the little medical droid, I think it was called FX7, and it had a whole bunch of arms. It was kind of like a circular droid with a whole bunch of arms that popped up. It was a neat figure because it had so many arms. And my uncle called it the coffee machine because that's what it looked like to him. And my uncle and aunt from Stratford were the ones that never gave us clothes. That was what, in our childhood memories, they were most noted for. The fact that they never gave us clothes. And Christmas couldn't really begin until they arrived. That was when things really began. And they would generally pull in on Christmas Eve. But one year there was a really bad blizzard. And they took a train into Kitchener. Well, they weren't even sure they were going to make it. If they were even going to bother with this train. But I can remember waiting in this blizzard for my uncle and aunt to show up on a train from Stratford. And Stratford's weather, multiply your weather by 2 or 3. They really get hit hard with a lake effect. So it was really quite amazing that they made it. But for us, it would have been earth-shattering if they didn't make it. Because they never brought clothes. They were counted on for always bringing something great. And the festivities couldn't begin until they arrived. They were the beginning of it all. Like, we would go nuts waiting for them to pull into the front window. Just nuts. That's when the fun would begin. And poor them waiting in the basement or sleeping in the basement, being woken up by us kids showing off our tauntauns. I've got messages on the screen. I've got messages on my phone. What's Chris saying? Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to see if you can see this. Chris Sarr just sent me a picture of his original Empire Strikes Back lunch pail in his Snoopy lunch pail. Can you see that? That's pretty cool. Thank you, Chris Sarr. And, you know, here's the other thing about Uncle and Aunt sleeping in the basement. That's where the TV was, with the Atari connected to it. Yeah, so, Atari, about 81. 80 or 81. Atari dominated the world. There were other entertainment systems, as Kevin Simister will gladly tell us. But Atari dominated. The 2600. And we were nuts for Atari. We were as addicted as any kid has ever been to any modern video game. But Atari video games only had a longevity of about 10 minutes before you wanted to turn it off and play something else. Yeah, we had an Atari, and we still have the same Atari, and it still works, only the controllers are new. I remember getting games like Haunted House for Christmas, Frogger. My sister got Strawberry Shortcake. Aw, isn't that nice? Frogger. I went downstairs to play Frogger, waking up Uncle and Aunt so many darn times. Oh, that was such a great game. There was the Empire Strikes Back video game. There was Pac-Man, the colossal disappointment of Atari Pac-Man. You know, you knew it was going to be bad by the reviews in the magazines. You knew how bad it was going to be. But then you get it. You're still hoping, well, it's still Pac-Man. It's still going to be good enough. And then you get it, and it was so bad. Must have been one of the... Although Pac-Man was what I wanted, what I asked for, and received, it had to be the most disappointing Christmas gift ever. Only E.T. the extraterrestrial could have possibly been worse. Yeah, the Strawberry Shortcake game was fun. It was a matching game. You had to match heads with bodies. My sister had some of the dolls. Boy, Aunt and Uncle sure suffered a lot back in those days. Jumping on the bed, jumping over the bed, trying to get to the Atari. Oh, and the stockings, of course, because the chimney was, the fireplace was down there. So we had to jump over the bed to get to the stockings. Oh, my God. Another thing I really strongly remember, and it seems like it went on for days and days and days, was just the wait for Christmas Eve. It just seemed that there was always so much time to kill. First, you're just trying to get through the end of the school season. You got to do all that school stuff like making Christmas ornaments out of cotton batting and colored paper and gluing it all together and giving it to your mom and dad for Christmas. And you had to do all the choir singing in the Catholic school, church stuff. And once you're finally through all that in the wet boots and the snowsuits, and you're finally home, there's still like 4 or 5 days to kill before Christmas Eve. And not all of those days had really good Christmas specials to watch, so my sister and I would kill time by watching choirs on TV and religious programming, anything. We made a game out of the encyclopedia. We made a game out of, like, reading the side of the encyclopedia and thinking of what those words might mean in relations to our ages. Like, if I was 7 years old, then the Encyclopedia Volume 7 would be my book. And what did the words on the side... I'm telling you, we would do anything to kill time. This went on for years. I remember in my high school years, I made my own frickin' Advent candies. I melted down chocolate chips that were in the kitchen cabinet and melted them into candies to make my own Advent, to make the time killing just a little bit less painful. Macaroni Wreath, yep. Adventure, that was not a disappointing game. I've written about Adventure. I don't want to get into it because that's more appropriate for another live show. But I was not disappointed with Adventure. Endless. Hey, Rosanna, how are you doing? Endless Days when you were a kid. Yes. A Macaroni Wreath. Yep. That's okay, Lana. My dad did the snow blowing already. Yeah, we all had a lovely Christmas, it sounds like. Cut a circle out of a cardboard and then glue macaroni on it. Yep, I remember that. A Garfield advent calendar. That's cool. Advent calendars were always expensive, so we didn't have them very often. But I found that they helped make the time killing a little less painful. There we go. Okay. Encyclopedia number 6. Cocker Dace. Meaning the first word in the encyclopedia was cocker and the last word was dace. So for Catherine's entire year of being 6 years old, she was Cocker Dace. That's how the game went, pretty much. You had to do something to kill that time. It was mind-numbing. There was also always a night before Christmas, where the parents would all get together for the neighborhood adult Christmas party. And we had to just sit at home waiting for them to get home. And it was so boring. There was rarely anything good on TV. If you were lucky, you'd get Snoopy for half an hour. If you were lucky, you'd get Grinch. But not every night had a Christmas special. And we had no VCRs. And sometimes it's just a matter of looking under the tree and shaking the gifts and guessing and rehearsing. This is a game my dad invented. Christmas rehearsals. Yes, we did this. Christmas rehearsals. And I don't know when he started it, but it started when Catherine was really young, and we went from there. But Catherine and I would go to bed, or we'd pretend to go to bed and rehearsing for Santa's arrival. And my dad would come down the hallway going, jingle, 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 ho, 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 ho. And Catherine and I would bolt out the door. I'd run into her room to, Catherine, wake up. Santa came. We'd run downstairs. We'd rehearse running downstairs to the stockings, running to the tree. I think we were trying to get our best time like an athlete. You had to do something to kill that time. It just went on and on and on. But the time after Christmas went so quickly. It's probably still the case today. I got a week of vacation still coming, so. Again, my mom bought me this mug. I think it means Kiss 2020 goodbye. I was quite shocked that she gave me a mug with a middle finger on it, but did you ever open any gifts before Christmas when we were home alone? Never. I never did. We knew that would probably be a death sentence. We did look for gifts. We did look and we did find, but that was later on. The year that Catherine discovered there was no Santa Claus. Yeah, but that's later on. The Atari years were a lot of fun, though. There used to be an ad on TV, and the jingle went, "Have you played Atari today?" And Catherine and I, for many months, for the first year of owning Atari, we could say, yes, we played Atari every single day. I mean, it was a good system. It was a really good video game system for the time. It was cheap compared to some of the rivals. It had, although the controllers were fragile in the hands of someone more hefty with it, such as my cousin, the controllers were simple and responsive. There was a variety of games available for all ages, and some of them towards the end of the Atari 2600 were pretty sophisticated games. The Space Shuttle Simulator, for example, is a really sophisticated game for the 2600. So it kept us occupied for years. And for years, my uncle and aunt had to put up with us coming down to the basement where they were sleeping and wake them up to play Atari. Man, Haunted House was a really good one. Frogger was a really good one. Now, what year do we want to get into? Yeah, you know what? let's get into 1984. The Atari game in 1984 was actually Catherine's. It was actually Catherine's, but it turned out that what she had asked for was such a great little game that we all loved it. I'm going to put it on the screen here. It was Snoopy and the Red Baron. And what made this game so addictive, aside from the fact that it was kind of pretty cool aerial combat, what made this game so addictive was that you could keep on going and going and going and going if you were good enough. And we wanted to see if we could push the game so far that the score counter would reset, which we did. And the year was 1984. It was we might not have beat the game on Boxing Day, but it was definitely Boxing Day that Bob Shipper came over and we played this game for hours. It was Boxing Day 36 years ago today. And Bob Shipper, who I've talked about on this live show many times, 2 years older than me. And he was starting to get into music in a serious way. So when he came over to play Atari that Boxing Day in 1984, he brought something with him. I don't have cassette, and I don't want cassette, but I do have the LP. Masters of Metal Volume 2 was the album. And he had it on cassette. And he brought it over. And we played it. Track 1, side 1. Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden. We're playing this Atari game. We're dogfighting. We're full of energy. I guess similar to the way kids get today when they're playing their first-person combat simulators. That's how we felt when we're playing Snoopy and the Red Baron in '84. And we have this amazing soundtrack of Run to the Hills. And to us, the words meshed with the video game experience because we are telling the Red Baron, run to the hills, run for your life. And we hit rewind and we played that song again. It's my first time hearing it. It was my first time hearing Heavy Metal Love by Helix. Metal on Metal by Anvil. Come On Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot. And You've Got Another Thing Coming by Priest. These were the songs that Bob and I played on repeat. We didn't give Rush a chance. We didn't give Lee Aaron a chance. Coney Hatch, not particularly. We liked it Balls to the Wall, except. We liked the heavier stuff. And from that day forward, I was obsessed with Iron Maiden. I was obsessed with Helix and all this music that was completely new to me. The previous year, I was listening to nothing but John Williams soundtracks. But now there was no more Star Wars. It was 1984. That was done. So I needed something new to listen to. And it just so happened that this came into my life. Combined with the video game experience, you've got a life-changing experience. Bob Shipper went home to get some lunch. I continued playing the game. Actually, it had a neat feature where you could actually keep it paused indefinitely, which was really rare for an Atari. So he ate some lunch. I ate some lunch. I played a little bit of that tape. Played a little bit more of that Iron Maiden. Got a little bit more obsessed. And then Shipper came over and we kept playing that game. And eventually, like I said, we did get to the point where we reset the score counter. Yeah. Life was never the same after that Boxing Day. That's when the cassette era began. And according to my notes here, the following Christmas, '85, would have been the year that I got my first dual cassette deck, which was a Sanyo, if I remember correctly. No, that's not right. That's not right. No, I got the single cassette deck in 85. It was a little bit later that I got the dual. Correction on the notes. I got my single cassette deck around 85. Ugh, cassettes. Yes, I agree. But it was the best we had. And we'd love when we'd see those little packages. Cassette-sized packages to open. So from that point forward, I was getting Kiss albums. I remember getting Lick It Up for Christmas. I got Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time for Christmas in 86. Got a bunch of Whitesnake for Christmas, probably 87, 88. I remember getting the album Whitesnake 1987 for Christmas. I remember shoveling the snow on Christmas holidays to Whitesnake's Slide It In. And I'm listening on this crappy little Walkman. So it's like, slide it in, right to the top. We gotta slide it in, I ain't never gonna stop. And it sounded terrible. But Capitol Records, actually that wasn't Capitol Records, Whitesnake wasn't. But some of those cassettes were really warbly, and not like my Walkman was going to be able to play them very well. But I can distinctly remember being out there shoveling the snow to the sound of David Coverdale crooning to the ladies on the Slide It In album. Must have got that for Christmas too. Def Leppard's Hysteria, Christmas of 87. Took maybe one listen to get past all the techie side of Def Leppard's Hysteria, and that became my favorite album for probably 2 years solid. Hysteria. Oh God, what else? Trying to think of some of the other cassettes. I didn't make extensive notes. I wanted to somewhat wing it. Kim Mitchell, Akimbo Logo. I got that Christmas of, I'm going to say 86, 87. Oh, apparently Canada's winning the World Juniors 10-1 with another period to go. There you go. Chris Sarr, can you keep us posted on the score? Chris Sarr, I will put the score up on the screen periodically, and then we will keep the people informed. Yes, Def Leppard, says Lana. Yeah. They were big in 87. They were big in 88. They were big in 89. A few Christmases later, it might have been 89, my sister got a copy of Hysteria as well. That's how dominating that album was. The cassette years, like I said, started the year after Masters of Metal. Masters of Metal was 84. So the cassette era would have started at 85. But toys were still dominant. And it was 85. Oh, geez. It was 85 that I woke the family up at 1 in the morning to play with this right here. It was a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. The G.I. Joe Killer Whale Hovercraft, which might have been bigger than the Falcon, was certainly more loaded with features than the Falcon. The people who made G.I. Joe had the advantage that the Star Wars people had already set the scale. We were talking about the scale of the figures earlier and how they were perfect for interacting with vehicles and playsets. Affordable vehicles and playsets. And this was, at the time, probably the biggest G.I. Joe vehicle. 11-1 World Juniors. This was probably the biggest G.I. Joe vehicle at that time, which was the third wave, 1985. I believe that's the third wave, 85, yeah. Or maybe 84. Gosh, should have done a little bit more research. You can see, though, look at these. 2 big cannons that elevate. 2 rotating and elevating. I think these are anti-aircraft machine guns. 2 rotating and elevating missile pods with 8 missiles each. Dispensing depth charges. There's a little motorcycle that hides back in here that you can ride Oh, I think you can see the handlebars of it right here, or your figures can ride. There's this lever here, which if you push down, causes the fans to rotate. You've got all of these flaps that you can position. You have two service panels here with mechanical stuff underneath. You have this hatch that opens. You have this ramp that comes down so your G.I. Joes can land. And then there's a little hatch hidden here with a little battle sled as well. You can pack 7 or 8 figures in here. It was a great vehicle. But what really pissed my family off was waking them up at 1 in the morning. I was bad. I probably knew it was coming. I waited for everybody to go to sleep. And when I was satisfied that everyone had fallen asleep, which was about 1 in the morning, I went downstairs and played with it because I knew that meant that Santa had come. My sister might have still believed in Santa, but I knew that Santa was just the parents leaving gifts out underneath the tree. So I waited long enough, and I went downstairs and opened up my G.I. Joe Hovercraft and started putting that sucker together because you had to put them together yourself. Woke my dad up, and I said, "Look, Dad, Santa came!" And he's like, "I know." Oh, we didn't have the TIE Fighter anti-bomber. We just had Vader's TIE Fighter. Ah, Harrison, we would have had fun with your toys. Oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah. Waking my dad up playing with that G.I. Joe Hovercraft. But what a vehicle that was. And it was more of a vehicle than a playset. Had little wheels under the thing so you could roll it. You could float it in the bathtub. I definitely did that more than once. Ah, what a time to be alive. The best toys. The best toys. And it would have been sometime in that mid to late 80s era where we went to see the WWF at the Kitchener Auditorium Boxing Day. And I'm just trying to think back to what year that might have been. I'm thinking possibly 1987. Macho Man Randy Savage. You know what? I've got photos. I've got photos. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, I got photos. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna put some photos here up on the screen. Oh, you know, these might not be from that exact event. Yeah, it is. There's the Demolition. Yeah, so this is from that exact event. This is Boxing Day. The Demolition were my absolute favorite tag team. Looks like they were fighting the Road Warriors. Axe and Smash, the Demolition. Loved those guys. That looks like... I don't know who that is. That's Iron Mike Sharp. There's Akeem and the Macho Man Randy Savage. That looks like Slick in the corner of the Road Warriors. It's too bad these pictures are so crummy. You know, I'm repeating them again, but that would have been Boxing Day. We had tickets to go see the WWF at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. I did the best I could with the pictures. We went on our computer and we printed out a banner that said Demolition, and it looked like crap, and we held it upside down. But I do remember going to the auditorium with that big Demolition banner. Now, they were my favorite. Why do they call December 26th Boxing Day? I have no idea. I have no idea. Harrison still has his Star Wars fighters and the gunship and the airspeeder. Missing some degree of parts. That was a beautiful helicopter. That was a beautiful helicopter. My son says it's Boxing Day because you're boxing up the tree. I think it's because we all get boxing gloves and battle. I'm going with what Aaron says, which matches my WWF thing better anyway. I was so into wrestling in the 80s. That, music, and G.I. Joe and Transformers. The thing about G.I. Joe and Transformers was they made it easy to outgrow them. They made, in my opinion, the same mistake. They went too kiddie. When G.I. Joe started, it was basically military toys. Each figure looked like it could be in a modern military. It came with actual replica, miniaturized military weapons like an Uzi or an M16 or an AK-47. But then they got really fanciful and hang on a second. Okay, everything's good. They got too fanciful and science fiction-y with the figures and neon colors, garish designs that really had nothing to do with modern military and made it more kiddie. And Transformers did the same thing. When they originally started the Transformers line in '84, a lot of the Autobots looked like little die-cast cars that an adult could have in their die-cast car collection, except that they transformed into robots. And then they got more kiddie and garish colors and science fiction-y designs, and they stopped being something that a kid embarking on adulthood could still hang on to. So it was very easy to get out of toys at that point. It was very natural. The toys just weren't as cool as they once were. They were geared towards younger kids. So wrestling took over in terms of, you know, the garish characters, and music took over for excitement. Now, Chris R has some answers here. Boxing Day got its name when Queen Victoria was on the throne in the 1800s. It has nothing to do with the sport of boxing. The name comes from a time when the rich used to box up gifts to give to the poor. The servants would also go home on Boxing Day to give Christmas boxes to their families. The airspeeder had blast-offable panels to simulate battle damage, and those didn't stick around for long. That's true. Any toy that had something that could blast off or eject generally got lost. Not unwanted stuff like junk, no. Well, I don't know. I guess. Yeah, so music began to dominate. I remember my sister got into the wrestling figures, though. She had the ring and the cage. She could have cage matches with these figures and everything. She had some of the best characters. She had Hogan with the belt. She had, I believe, King Kong Bundy. All kinds of cool figures. I had... can't remember which one of us had Sergeant Slaughter. It was a crossover figure with the G.I. Joe line. I gave it to my friend Aaron. Not this Aaron. Not that Aaron. A different Aaron. But I gave it to my friend Aaron. We had a lot of fun with wrestling. And they would always do really special... dry throat. Special events and storylines around Christmas time. Usually revolving around Saturday Night Main Event. They did the Slammy Awards one Christmas holiday. And if you don't know what the Slammy Awards are, it was a musical crossover wrestling television variety show, I guess, / award show. The wrestlers lip syncing their songs from their wrestling album, Pile Driver. Man, it was so bad. But I do remember watching it during Christmas holidays. It was one way to kill some time before Christmas Day. The Slammy Awards, I recorded it. I still have it on tape. It was really, really bad. And the musical performances were terrible. Even though it was lip synced, it was still really terrible. Vince McMahon was really trying to cross over the wrestlers with everything. There was cartoons. Or trying to cross over the wrestlers with everything. And the musical stuff was... The Demolition had a good theme song that I believe was performed by Rick Derringer. And that probably had a lot to do with why I liked Demolition the most. They had a heavy metal theme song. Here comes the axe. Here comes the smasher. The demolition. Walking disaster. Loved that. It had a good riff. Bum 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 bam bam bum 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 bam bam. Oh, and yes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Oh my God, he was the best one. You're right. Forgot about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He was the best one. WrestleMania 3, when he had to get revenge on Jake the Snake Roberts. That was epic. Thanks for HP sauce, says Friday Ray. Wrestling with reality too. I like your Martok, General Martok icon. I like that. Yeah, so wrestling was really dominant within my life, along with rock and roll. And eventually rock and roll just took over completely. Like anything else, wrestling got a little different from the way that it was when I first became interested in it. And I wasn't able to keep up with all of the different wrestling broadcasts once I got a part-time job. So something had to give, and it ended up being wrestling. I didn't miss it too much because rock and roll was far more exciting to me. And every Christmas, my sister had a tradition for many years. She would buy me a Whitesnake album that I didn't have. That was easy because I didn't have very many Whitesnake albums. They had a whole bunch from the early years that the first time around were very scarce in Canada. I'd never heard of Whitesnake until the 87 album. So it made it quite easy for my sister to just, hey, there's a Whitesnake my brother doesn't have, and just pick it up. And yeah, I was saying earlier, Slide It In was one of those albums that I remember shoveling snow to. Must have been Christmas of 87, 88. Can't remember exactly which of those 2 years it was. But I remember shoveling the snow in that warbling Walkman. Slide it in right to the top. Very warbly. And yeah, James is very much a wrestling fan. And I'm dreaming of a Whitesnake Christmas. 1989 was another special year. That was the first year that I was working at the grocery store. First year that I had CDs. I got a CD player. It was a Panasonic. Got a CD player for Christmas that year. It's the third stereo I got for Christmas, I think. Maybe the fourth. My original Sanyo from the early 80s would have been a Christmas gift, I'm pretty sure. Because my Grandpa Winter got a stereo the same Christmas, I think. Or would have got if he didn't pass away. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but yeah, 4 stereos of the year. My original single cassette Sanyo. My dual cassette Sanyo. My Panasonic CD player. Just 3 then. But, you know, you'd wait till Christmas to get a new stereo because you couldn't afford it. The Christmas that I got the first CD player, I received Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood, Whitesnake's Snake Bite, and Alice Cooper's Trash, which I believe was a gift to myself, if I remember correctly, from Columbia House. But Snakebite, Dr. Feelgood, Bon Jovi's New Jersey. And I was really excited about certain features about the CD player. I was really excited to show my friends when they came over that you could play the song Time for Change by Motley Crue all the way through the fade out, crank the volume up to the max and get no static. I was really excited to show them the difference between CD and cassette, because if you did that with a cassette, you'd just get mountains of static. But with the CD, you could play the fade out right to the end, get no static, and I was so excited to show them. Bob and John were like, whoa, holy crap. And I could do things like make mixtapes so much more efficiently. I could stop and start a track on a dime, which upped my mixtape game. Take care, buddy. Thanks for the Whitesnake visuals with the Jaguar. She completed that Jag. Yes, she did. And I would do this too. I would do that too. I couldn't afford the double live CDs, so I would ask for them for Christmas. How about that, Kevin? I would do that too. I did that with the AC/DC Live, but I got the single disc for Christmas anyway. Oh, well. That's okay. Poison. I got Swallow This Live, the double, for Christmas of 91. Actually, same Christmas, I got Queensryche's Operation Live Crime, which had a CD and a VHS. Yeah, so I had a lot of double lives for Christmas as well, for the same reason, because I couldn't afford them. It's funny how we have so much of this in common. So yeah, the CD player, I hung on to cassettes as well. I was double formatted for many years. The CD player did add that new format to my collection, and all of a sudden I was starting to get CDs for Christmas. And the following Christmas, 1990, I don't know why I didn't get this out earlier. Here it is. 1990. The year Led Zeppelin changed everything again. And it was almost like the Masters of Metal year. All over again. It was all brand new to me. All of this Zeppelin. It was all new to me. Looks like at one point I replaced all these cases. I must have replaced every single case in here at one point. They're all brand new. But I put this on. From the very first track, Whole Lotta Love. I wondered where these guys had been my whole life. 50 odd tracks. Handful of unreleased ones. I played this thing start to finish. And when I was done, I did it all over again. I made a goal to listen to this thing start to finish 3 times during that Christmas holiday, and I did. Yes, it is the orange box set. Lana asks, is it the orange box set? It is the orange box set. Yeah. That's it. This is the box set that I received that day. And you can see it's still in fantastic condition. Well loved. I recorded all the CDs onto 4 cassettes so that I could play them in the Walkman and later the car. It's hard to explain exactly what Led Zeppelin did that Christmas. But I knew upon hearing that box set and hearing that music, I knew that Cinderella just wouldn't cut it anymore. Cinderella wasn't the blues. I thought they were before Led Zeppelin. But then Led Zeppelin started talking about all these artists like Robert Johnson and Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. And if I thought, geez, that Led Zeppelin's pretty good, I had to start checking out some of these other blues guys, and just widened everything. It blew everything up. I never heard anything like Led Zeppelin before. I mean, I'd heard things that sounded like Led Zeppelin before, but only bits and pieces of Led Zeppelin, not the whole thing. And when I'm hearing a band that can do I Can't Quit You, Babe, but they can also do In the Evening, and they can also do All of My Love, and they can also do Kashmir. It's like there's no other band. There's no other band that could do this. There were other bands that could do this, but I hadn't really gotten into Queen or the Beatles yet. Even if you could afford the Double Live album, why spend the money when you can ask someone to buy it for you for Christmas? Yes. Yeah, my buddy Trevor did get that for Christmas of 94, I guess it was, when he was working at the record store. Yep, Aaron knows what I'm talking about. Now, I was going somewhere with this. Bear with me a second here. I might just zap my coffee and warm it up here. I'm going to zap my coffee and warm it up here. In the meantime, while I warm up my coffee, I am going to play for you the La Brain Train theme song again, because it's fucking awesome. So here you go.
Ticket to anywhere and a glazed donut to go. The Brain Train. The Brain Train. All aboard.
One according to my mom. Holy crap. 12-1. Go Canada. Refilled the coffee. Voice is a little rough tonight. T-Bone for the win. Yeah, that's a great theme song, ain't it? Voice is a little rough tonight. But I feel fine. Oh, I didn't show off my shirt. This was from Jen. Neil deGrasse Tyson. How cool is that? T-Bone literally just tuned in. That's funny. No, I was going to warm up my coffee and decided to play the song as an interlude while I went to get a fresh coffee. So welcome, T-Bone. Yes. I'm going to paste the link on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook. So you can join if you feel like it. If you don't want to join, you don't have to. But I'll paste the link here. And if anybody wants to join you, go right ahead. So that was Christmas of 90, that the world expanded with the Led Zeppelin box set. And originally I asked for it on cassette, but I realized quickly that that was a mistake because cassettes were notoriously unreliable. And for such an investment, I knew I had to get CD. So I quickly revised my Christmas list to the CD version of the Led Zeppelin box set. Because the last thing I wanted to do is have my mom spend, like, what, $60 $70 on the cassettes, and then one of the cassettes break. Thank you, Rosanna. Jennifer bought me this t-shirt. I love it. And the last Christmas that I really made any notes about that I wanted to talk about tonight was 1991. It was a new kind of rivalry that was developing. Christmas of 91 was the Christmas that there was a Star Wars trilogy VHS box set made available at the exact same time as a brand new Star Trek V movie 25th anniversary VHS box set. My sister wanted the Star Wars movies for Christmas. I wanted the Star Trek movies for Christmas. And I still remember how I found out that I was getting the Star Trek box set for Christmas. And I believe it was my dad's fault. But we were at some parent-teacher interviews at my sister's high school. And I went as well because some of those teachers that taught at my sister's high school actually taught me in grade school. Mrs. Scott. Remember her, Chris Sarr? Mrs. Scott? So we went to the high school for the parent-teacher interview thing. And I remember saying to my parents, Can we get home soon? The Wrath of Khan is on TV. And my dad says, you don't have to worry about missing the Wrath of Khan. And I was like, why? And it was because I was getting the Wrath of Khan for Christmas that year. Hey, Mom!
Hey, Mike.
Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day.
Toast.
Nice.
You've got coffee, I've got wine.
Nice. Do you remember that year where Catherine got the Star Wars trilogy and I got the 5 Star Trek movies?
No, but you reminded me of it yesterday.
I remember very clearly being at the school for Catherine's... Oh, Mom.
Why do we have...
13-1.
Wow.
Kevin says hi.
How come this isn't in sync?
It's in sync for us. You might have to close your Facebook window. I would if you have a Facebook tab, close it.
My Facebook... Okay. It's
okay,
closed.
you should be fine.
Okay, that was the problem. Okay.
So,
yes.
Chris R, 13-1.
Yes, I've got the game on. 15 minutes left and it's 13-1. That's an embarrassment.
Lots of people are saying hello. Anyway, I think we've got the audio problems settled.
Okay.
But what I remember is being at the parent-teacher interviews at St. Mary's High School.
Mm.
And I went with you guys because Mrs. Scott was teaching there at that point. And
Oh.
I wanted to say hello. Oh, my God!
Oh my God is right. Oh, there should be a rule where
Put them
you
out
just
of their misery.
yeah. Anyway, continue with your story.
I remember, first of all, I remember seeing Mrs. Scott at that interview, but I remember
I
also
sort of
saying,
remember that.
I also remember saying, can we hurry this up? Because I don't want to miss the Wrath of Khan. And then Dad said, you don't have to worry about missing the Wrath of Khan. And I said, why? And it was because I was getting the movies for Christmas.
Oh,
And you know Dad, how he just gives things away like that.
always.
Rosanna says you're beautiful.
Oh, gee.
Is that a
Thank you,
hockey game or a
Rosanna.
football game?
Yeah,
Mercy
exactly.
rule.
Yeah.
So we knew we were getting the box sets for Christmas, and then there was a battle over who got to watch their movies first. And I think the problem
Yeah, because we only
that,
had one machine.
right.
Mhm.
And the problem was that Catherine's movie started with a good one, the original Star Wars, and mine started with a terrible one, which was the original Star Trek.
And
It was not-
probably the rest of the family would rather see Star Wars.
Yes.
Yes.
But it was great having all of the Star Trek movies and all of the Star Wars movies to watch anytime. That was the first time we had that. Hard to believe we didn't
Yeah.
own any Star Wars movies. We had some taped off TV with commercials.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was 1991. And of course, it wasn't the last time that we got the entire trilogies for Christmas. It happened again and again and again every time they put out new ones.
Well, and you always put them on your list.
Yeah, because there would always be updated movies to add to the collection.
Yeah, I think we had. Well, you used to give the old ones to us, I think, and I think we
or
had
sell
several.
them. Or sell them.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
I'd give them to Trevor to sell at his store usually. After that, when that happened. But I was going to say, one of the things that you'll notice about Netflix and Amazon Prime is that there's not a lot of Star Trek movies out there for streaming. It's really unfortunate. You kind of, for Star Trek anyway, you still need to buy the movies to get all of them.
Oh,
for
really?
Star Wars, you can just go on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Couldn't have imagined a time when you can watch all the Star Wars movies on a TV channel and whenever you want. But we bought those movies so many times when we were kids.
I know.
And the best thing about
Imagine
Boxing
the money
Day,
they made off of us, eh?
oh, for sure. But did you see we have our decoration up?
I see it. It looks nice.
The best thing about Boxing Day was it was a good time to catch up on all the movies and all the CDs and
Yeah.
the games and the toys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron just got Disney Plus, and he can start watching Mandalorian.
Oh, Aaron. I got into Mandalorian, and I am loving it. Now I'm trying to get Michael's father into it.
Hopefully before the end of the holiday.
It's funny though because Catherine doesn't like it very much, and
No.
I really like it.
Oh no, it's 15-1.
Oh my God! And 13 and a half minutes left to go. Oh my God!
Harrison says that The Wrath of Khan was his first Trek. That's pretty cool. At the time, I thought it was pretty good. I like Ricardo Montalban. Yes.
I love Ricardo loved him.
And Aaron, I'll have to
Yeah.
correct you on this. Not all the Simpsons, not all the Simpsons are on there. Apparently, Disney have removed the Michael Jackson episode. Is what I read. Yeah, and they've also changed. They've censored a few of the other episodes.
Really?
Apparently.
Wow.
But if you want the original Simpsons episodes, you got to own the box sets. If you want them untampered with, just like the Star Wars movies. Oh boy!
Well,
So I guess Catherine's not joining us tonight.
no, she's still in her pajamas. She didn't get dressed today. She wanted
I showered, but I only showered because I'm doing a show, really.
Well, she wanted to relax for the day.
Well, we
And who can blame her?
The reason Simpsons is on Disney Plus is because I believe that Disney has acquired Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Same reason that they can now have things like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and they've acquired everybody. Pretty soon
Yeah.
Disney will acquire everybody.
Yeah.
Another one I remember watching when we were kids is the Disney. Dad always liked the Disney Christmas Carol.
The Disney Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
What did he call it? Well, it's the one with Goofy is Jacob Marley.
Oh, a cartoon one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Goofy. I remember.
No, because he always liked the original one going back to the.
Well, it's not the original,
30s
but he
or
did like the
40s.
Alistair Sim.
Oh, okay.
There are plenty that came before Alistair Sim. Rob Daniels was showing one on Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was an earlier one. And then a lot of people, Harrison was saying that he likes the George C. Scott.
Really?
Yeah.
The George C. Scott version wasn't bad, and there was even a version with Henry Winkler, filmed in filmed in Elora. Elora and
Wow.
Fergus area. Yes,
Wow.
you hardly ever see it. And I liked it because of the local scenery.
You can
And
recognize it.
R.H. Thompson was in it. He's a Canadian actor from Toronto. Um, oh, this is my first one today.
And this is actually my first coffee of the day. I decided to be really. I wanted.
Michael, show Aunt your mug because she has the wine glass with the same. Yeah, I just thought that was pretty good for 2020.
Yeah, I just wanted to take it. I wanted to. I didn't want to burn myself out too early in the day, so I didn't have any coffee until the start of the show.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, and apparently it was Henry Winkler. There you go. Hey. And Chris Sarr clarifies that the version of Christmas Carol that we watched with Rob Daniels on Wednesday was from 1935.
Okay, so that was the one before Alistair Sims.
Yes. And there's even an earlier one, I think. Oh my God! Just end it. Just get it over with. Like, Jennifer's not even watching anymore, because why?
Well, exactly. It's just practice for the Canadian team. My gosh.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Stop the
I don't
bleeding.
even.
Oh, I guess Harrison wasn't the one who name dropped George C. Somebody mentioned George C. Scott the other night. I thought it was Harrison. It wasn't Harrison.
He doesn't even know the name? Yeah, they do have a goalie in net.
Harrison, you might know, if you know Stanley Kubrick, you might know George C. Scott from Dr. Strangelove. He played, what was his name? Colonel Jack D. Ripper? Was that her General Jack D. Ripper? Was that his name?
I don't remember
Something
the
like
name. But he won an Academy Award for Patton.
Yeah.
George C. Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did we watch at Christmas time? We never missed. There were certain things we never missed, but Dad liked Laurel and Hardy and the March of the Wooden Soldiers.
That was on yesterday. He watched it yesterday.
So what was the story there? They were working for Santa's shop, and Santa placed an order for, what was it, 20 soldiers? They got the dimensions wrong with the quantity, and they ended up building, instead of 20 soldiers, they ended up building...
I forget how it went.
But it was classic. It's one of the few... it's one of the few Laurel and Hardy that's kind of done in that style. Most of their stuff is more... It has a different style. The March of the Wooden Soldiers is very different for them.
Yeah, I think it was 20 soldiers a foot high or something, and I don't remember. I don't remember.
Instead, they got the dimensions screwed up, and they did like 100 soldiers 20 feet high or something. It was something crazy, but it came in handy at the end when they needed an army to defeat the bad guy.
Well, I never really watched that movie. I never really appreciated it like you and your father, I guess.
Oh, it was great. It was funny. We always had to make sure we watched Snoopy every year, and The Grinch every year, and Rudolph every year.
Rudolph, yeah.
Those were classics. There was another one about there were mice that lived in a clock tower.
Don't remember.
There was one you liked. These mice that lived in a clock tower. It might have been called.
No, don't remember.
Might have been called The Night Before Christmas.
Oh, that could. Oh, yeah. Yeah, The Night Before Christmas.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it.
That's a classic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found it. Here it is. I recognize this. Here it is. Not a very good picture, but
yeah.
That's it there, and something about a clock tower and Santa and
Mm-hmm.
Mice. That was a good one.
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Apple bought the Charlie Brown Christmas, and now it's the only place to get it. I don't know about that, Aaron.
Wow.
I'd have to look into that.
I don't know either.
That's why it's nice to have. It's nice to have these things on disc.
Another Christmas show that I really like that you hardly ever see is a Muppet Christmas story called Emmett Otter and his
Jug Band something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah. And it was sort of a take on that O. Henry story where the husband and wife don't have any money before Christmas, and the husband loves the wife's long hair, and she's got her hair all cut off and sold her hair to buy a watch chain for her husband's watch.
I don't remember.
Because he wanted to get something nice for his wife, he sold his watch to buy clips for her hair. So she had clips for her hair that she didn't have, and he had a watch chain for a watch that he didn't have, and that was the story.
No memory of that.
It's an old story. It was made into a movie. But
Kevin owns Charlie Brown on Blu-ray, so he can watch it no matter who owns it, which is what I was saying earlier. Apple allows PBS to air it. Aaron thinks that Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. I never cared for It's a Wonderful Life ever.
No, me neither.
T-Bone watched Die Hard last night for Christmas. I think that's funny. I can remember watching Total Recall for Christmas, so why not Die Hard? Elf is a great movie.
Elf I like Elf.
Gift of the Magi, I don't remember that one.
Okay,
that's the O. Henry story. Lana likes the Santa Claus 2, not 1, but 2.
I don't think I've seen that one. What about what was the name of it now? Mary Steenburgen was in it. It was also filmed locally. It was filmed in Fergus. Christmas Vacation, that's a good one.
Mary Steenburgen was in...
It was, and there was an angel in it played by that old guy that was in, I think he was in Christine. He's dead now. I can't remember the name of him. Where's Rob Daniels? He would know these movies.
I know. Well, here's something funny for you. Mary Steenburgen is in the sequel to A Christmas Story. It Runs into the Family. She played the mom. Kieran Culkin plays Ralphie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the sequel to A Christmas Story.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
There were a few attempts to make sequels, I believe.
Is that out now?
No, that's from 30 years ago, 25 years ago.
What?
That's like from 25 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, never was very popular.
Never heard of it.
I think Jen and I were watching a documentary about it the other day, and I think it made like $7,000 in the theater. Like, it was a bomb. It was a complete bomb.
I can imagine. Yeah.
James Calen likes Scrooged, which I've only ever seen once.
I think Scrooged is a good one.
I've only seen it once. Everybody Loves Christmas Vacation. That was an Uncle Paul movie. Uncle Paul liked Christmas Vacation and the Santa Claus movies. And there are a few sequels for A Christmas Story.
I didn't know that.
There might even be one that has Peter Billingsley in it. He might have reprised the role of Ralphie at one point. I might be wrong on that.
I can't imagine trying to remake Christmas Story. It was a classic.
I was watching this documentary about it, and I guess nobody had much of high expectations for it when they were making it. They had no idea what they were. They had no idea, and apparently they were looking at Jack Nicholson to play the old man.
Oh my!
That wouldn't have been nearly as good.
Yeah. No, Darren McGavin is just perfect in that.
Darren McGavin was angry but funny. I think Jack Nicholson would have been angry but scary.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, that wouldn't be the same at all. No.
And of course, Peter Billingsley now is a movie producer, director kind of guy. He doesn't really, he's more behind the camera than in front of it.
Yeah.
But the last movie I saw him in was 2019's Spider-Man Homecoming, where he played a bad guy.
Really?
Yeah, bald.
Mm,
Here, I'll see if I can find him. You'll recognize him.
really?
Yeah.
He had beautiful blue eyes.
Yep. But you'll recognize him
What
when I
was
show
the
you what
last?
he looks like.
What was the last score that Chris posted? It's 16-1
It was
now.
15. Yeah, he might have stopped watching at this point.
Okay, it's 16-1 now.
Okay, I'm going to show you what Peter Billingsley looks like in
Okay.
the Marvel movies.
Okay.
And there he is.
Oh my.
You can see it's him. You can also see where his head is shaved. You can totally see.
I would never recognize him.
No,
No.
eh?
No.
Anyway,
no, I would
that's what he
never
does.
recognize
Oh,
him.
Chris Thuss is here. Hello, Chris Thuss. Oh, that's true. Ralphie from A Christmas Story is actually in Elf. He plays one of the elves. That is 100% true. He plays like the
Did
boss
not.
elf.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, he plays like the boss elf. Oh,
Oh,
Kevin mentioned
really?
Home Alone.
That's
Um,
another good one.
This is one of those things.
Batman
where
Returns.
Some people consider it a Christmas movie.
Well,
Was that One Flew Over the Christmas Tree? Oh, yay, Aaron Snowplower just showed up at 8:30 at night. Great. Fantastic. Get the family out there
Wow.
to shovel your driveway in the morning, I guess. Oh, crap. Yeah, so Christmas Story was annual. They actually mentioned yesterday how there's one channel in the United States that plays Christmas Story on a loop during Christmas Day, so you
Really?
can tune in at any time, and we've definitely done that many years in a row where Christmas
Yeah.
Story was on in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, remember the year you bought Dad a gun?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
put a note on
And
it.
on the tag I put, "Don't shoot your eye out."
Yeah, and he didn't get the joke.
No. That was his favorite movie, and he didn't get the joke.
Didn't get the joke. And then there was the year you bought him a train set.
Yeah.
And it was hard to hide, so you just put it on top of the freezer downstairs, the meat
Uh-huh.
freezer.
And asked
And
him
you
to
said,
get
"Oh, Don, can you go and get a loaf of bread out of the meat freezer?" And you expect him to find the train set on top of it, but he came back with a loaf of bread.
Yep.
He didn't come back with the train set
Yep.
that was for him.
I remember.
and I think
That's
a few
your dad.
times, I think you actually did get him a can of Simonize.
I think I did one year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I did.
From
Yeah.
A Christmas Story, when he
Yeah.
opens up the present,
Yeah.
a can of Simonize. and he would also always, every single year, he would do the gag where you give him a gift and he goes, "That's a lot."
Yeah. Yeah.
Every
yeah.
single year.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Now, talking about Christmas when you were that young, though, the one thing you didn't mention was that gifts from Santa that weren't wrapped and went under the tree, I hid in the attic.
Yeah,
And
that's where I found him.
and being a split level house, we had an attic that was accessible from over the one staircase. It didn't go, it wasn't in the ceiling, it was sort of in the side wall. So
Yeah.
you just had to open this door. And once Michael was a certain size, he was able to open the door and he found all the gifts hidden in the attic.
And
So then I
then,
had to find another. I had to find another
this
hiding
is the
place.
part of the story that I mentioned earlier that I didn't tell yet, but Fragile. Oh, Sarah really liked your Christmas Village, by the way. If you look at the comments on my photo gallery yesterday, she left a comment about your village.
Oh no, I didn't see that. Oh, that's
Daddy's
nice.
got a gun. The whole world's come undone. LeBrain's train's on the run. Yeah, he got a gun. He did get a gun. But anyway, okay,
Yeah,
so I
he
found
did.
the toys. I found the attic toys after years of searching for the toy. Actually, Catherine might have found it, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went in there. We found all
No,
the
I
toys.
think you probably did.
Either way, Catherine said, "It's okay, Mom. The toys from Santa will still be a surprise." To which you replied,
That's right.
"God damn it, Catherine, there is no Santa Claus."
Oh, what a terrible mother! What a terrible mother! Oh, well, that's because I was so mad at you for finding those gifts. Oh,
Man.
oh. Catherine will never forgive that either.
No, well, you don't forget that. But those were
Oh.
good. Those were some good GI Joes that year. I do remember that. That was the
Oh,
last year of GI Joes. The very last year of GI Joes. And I think she would have been
I don't
10.
know.
She would have been about 10.
She was old enough to know there was a Santa Claus. And I was
Well, I
getting
remember
annoyed
the
with
year
them.
that those toys came out, and she would have been 11.
Okay, well then she should have known there was
No,
no
10.
Santa
10.
Claus by that. Okay.
9 turning 10. 9 turning 10.
Whatever. In my Oh, don't let the kids watch.
Yeah, T-Bone, I don't know how old the kids are.
In my defense, they were
Aaron's
driving
boy
me
is watching right now.
they
I
were
think.
driving me absolutely crazy. I couldn't wait for Christmas, and so that's my excuse anyway.
Either way, it was my fault.
It was your fault. Yeah, we'll blame you for it.
Okay, Chris Thus. Chris had a bunch of siblings. He's got a bunch of brothers. When we were young, we always knew where our gifts were hidden, always in the same place. My mom always said every year, "If you want to wreck your Christmas, go right ahead."
Wow.
And Aaron's son is watching. Crap.
Oh.
Oh, man.
How old's your son, Aaron?
Isaac's got to be at least 10, I hope. Oh, jeez. Oh, those were good Christmases, though. And poor Catherine, she had her birthday 3 days later. And she always got skunked on her birthday because she always got clothes. Harrison's parents never bothered with the Santa stuff. They just skipped it completely. How times have changed, I guess. Isaac is 11. Okay, I hope we are okay. Okay.
Are we okay, Aaron?
LeBrain's train is off the rails again. This is T-Bone. Oh. But, Boxing Day was our relaxed day afterwards, and it would be the day that we would watch all of those movies that we got and listen to the CDs and play the video games, a lot of Atari. A little bit later on, Dad bought some cool computer games for us. I remember he bought me some flight simulators.
Oh, yeah, when we had the computer, yeah.
I think we got the computer 83 or 84. But whatever year we got the computer, I know for a fact that was the first year of our Christmas Eve fondue.
Really?
I know that for a fact. And the reason I know that for a fact is that we were testing the new computer out, and you printed out a note for us, testing out the new printer, and it said, "We are having a Christmas fondue, and Uncle Paul is really excited about our Christmas fondue." And I can remember you writing that note on the new computer. So whatever year we got our IBM PC, which would have been 83, 84, was our very first year of the annual Christmas fondue, which we only didn't do a handful of times, this year included.
Yeah.
But Catherine did it this year on our virtual Zoom meeting.
Well,
And Drew got hot oil. Drew had the injury this year. There's always an injury. And Drew got hot oil in the eyes.
He said yesterday that it didn't go in his eye, it went beside his eye.
Good.
Yeah, so he was fortunate. I think this is the first year we have not had it.
I could have sworn there were other years we didn't.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
I think this is the first.
Well,
And
it is
hopefully
possible.
next year we get back to normal.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yep.
This
Yep.
worked for a substitute. It worked.
Yep. I think it turned out really well considering everything.
It would be nice to
And
do
I
the real
hope
thing.
everybody else's Christmas turned out well.
Everybody I've talked to seems to have get Drew safety goggles next year. That'd be funny. Make Drew wear safety gear at the dinner table.
That's
But
what
there's always
somebody
been
should.
there's always
That's
been an
what
injury.
somebody should give him for his Christmas stocking.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy him some safety goggles. Lorraine Train's gonna have to have a 5-second delay going forward to avoid this kind of travesty.
Uh-oh.
Santa, you know what? I still believe in Santa too.
Me
Just
too.
because my mom said that to my sister all those years ago doesn't mean that Santa's not real.
That's right.
And Lana still believes in Santa too, so there you go.
Me too.
Oh, geez, 16-2. Oh, they got
my!
one.
They're inching back into the game.
The Santa Gate scandal. The Santa Gate scandal. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now here's something else I can remember. Speaking of killing time, I remember a few Christmases. Was there such a thing as Christmas Eve hockey?
Christmas Eve hockey.
Because I could swear sitting in the basement watching hockey games waiting for...
it was always New Year's Eve.
Oh, maybe
There
New
was
Year's
always
Eve.
a big game on New Year's Eve. I don't remember Christmas Eve hockey.
And New Year's was never a big deal for us. We never did anything.
No, not really. Your father was never into New Year's Eve.
For me, the saddest part of every Christmas holiday was the last weekend of Christmas break when we had to pack everything up and put it away.
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's it
Yeah.
for every year, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every year you have to pack up all the crap and put it away, and eventually I'm going to have to pack up all my new crap and put it all
Now,
away.
where are you going to put all your stuff?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
You're going to have to.
But it has
You're
been a
gonna
fun
have to
show.
buy
But
another. You're going to have to buy another condo just to store your stuff.
yeah, I'm going to knock a wall out and buy the one next door.
Yeah, buy the one next door. Isn't? Oh, the one next door is the guy you like, though, isn't it?
As an older couple, they're fine.
Oh, okay.
The guy down the hall I can't stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's home tonight. He's an idiot.
Oh well.
Well, I've been on for an hour and 3/4. I think that's a good length for a show. What do you think?
I think so.
Catherine's not showing up, unfortunately.
No, I don't know how you can talk for so long, to tell you the truth.
Well, that's why I make notes and have lots of coffee and lots of comments to read is always good. Well, that was a fun show. I guess we're going to do this again in a little less than a week for New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. I'll come on if you invite me.
Yeah, I'll do it. Nobody else
Okay.
came on. Everybody else was invited, but nobody else came on.
Well,
Oh, well.
I thought somebody would show up other than
I thought
me.
somebody would show up too. I thought T-Bone would show up. Where's T-Bone? You could have shown up. Oh, well. Well, everybody, I'm going to call it a night. I hope you enjoyed this Boxing Day special. We are going to close it on T-Bone's LeBrain Train theme music one more time, because why not? I want to play the crap out of it, because it's so good.
Oh, the game's over. Finally.
The game's over, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. They can stop the bleeding.
Yeah, they're playing the anthem now. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Mom. Well, thanks for coming on.
Well,
And
thank you.
We'll send everybody off with the LeBrain Train song. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Ciao.
Talk to you later. Bye.
make your day. Stick around and what they've got to say. The grind train. The grind train. Gas and list you never know, so just sit back, enjoy the show. This train goes everywhere you want to go. The grind train. The grind train.
Give me a one-way ticket to anywhere and a glazed donut.
To go. The grind train.